Yay. Okay, it's gonna work. Great.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, great. Now we're live, I think.
Hey.
Hey, okay, let me expand this view. So, dun, dun, dun. Okay, great. Now, let's go live on Instagram too.
Yes, gotta do both.
Gotta do both. Sweet. Okay, now we're live on both. Oh, this is so exciting. I'm so
Cool.
glad that, like I said, you're the first one so that we can get all the tech difficulties out, which didn't actually happen this time. So yay. Okay,
Cool.
guys. We are live with Natalie Brooke, who is going to be on our lineup on Thursday, June 8th. I think we have you headlining our Thursday night, and we had you headlining our Saturday last year. And I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for your support. And I love working with powerful females, and I just see you like just such a powerhouse. And I want to say, I was going to write this in one of the emails, but I was at this farm in Middleburg that you played at.
Oh yeah.
And we were all gathered around the fire and we were talking about Flow Jam's lineup, and everyone was like, Natalie Brooke's on your lineup. She's so good. We don't know why. Like, why isn't she famous yet? She has all the things to be famous. She's so good. And it was like this whole conversation about why you're not famous yet.
Oh my
I
God.
think you're famous in our area, but like you have some awesome talent that's pretty unique. So we're excited. And I will
Thanks.
say that not many people can get me out of bed dancing. I was like already like either I knew that your set was coming, but I was like taking a nap or just resting and in one of the tents that we get from Wild Tribe Co. And they're so comfortable. And I just heard you playing and I was like, I gotta go. And then like I just danced all night because I was so energized by your set. It's so good.
Yeah, that's totally like the point behind that group of mine is just for people to dance. That's what I want to do, you know?
Yeah. And you look so hot up there. You're always dressed to the nine and sparkles and like all the
Yeah,
photos.
both years at Flow Jam, I've worn like a pink sparkly top. And actually the first year it's one of my greatest, like cheapest finds. It was like this pink, like shiny magenta shirt with like a puffy shoulder. And it was like $6.99 online. And they were like just trying to get rid of it. I was like, give me that. And that's like the thing I wore to the first Flow Jam.
Yeah. I remember I was like, wow, she looks so good. I felt nervous almost standing next to you. I was like, you're just so beautiful.
Oh my God, no way. No. I never want to make people feel nervous. It's funny to me sometimes when people say that. And I'm like, if you know me, I'm the least intimidating, like kind of just like quiet, like, person, like just on the reg, but when I get up there, I'm like totally different. But, on the regular, like I'm just super chill. So
Well, that's like a lot of musicians I found. I like honestly, like when I first started doing this and hiring people and like hiring like bigger acts, I like everyone has a stage presence and like you see, and then I mean, I like sometimes am like nervous almost to talk to the artists that I'm hiring because they look like, so kind of just in their element and so like rock stars. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I feel so grateful to have like everyone, there and coming from just like the organic space that we came from, like playing out of barns, which was really reminded me of like, that's why I was so excited to go to that farm in Middleburg because it seemed like they were kind of developing in the same way that Flow Jam developed with just like being in your backyard and turning a junk filled barn into a stage. And now now we have a real stage. Like you never came to, but now like knowing that you saw that barn in Middleburg, I was like, okay, so she gets the feel. Not that you didn't before, but we now have an amphitheater. And when I get on stage on that amphitheater, I'm like, whoa, like this is a cool stage.
Yes, it's one of the coolest festival grounds ever, in my opinion. I actually first went there for this this other festival years ago, and I was like, this is gotta be the dopest piece of land for festivals. And then I've done Flow Jam, and that stage is so cool. And also behind it with like the different rooms and like the upstairs you can go watch. It's just so cool. And then you just have like a giant hill, an open field of beautiful grass. It's so great.
I know. We've been getting a lot of compliments on that space. Like, I'm so glad we found it. It was kind of random in 2020. We were actually supposed to still be on that farm in Lovettsville, and then I had to like quickly figure out a new venue, and that was really like, it just all kind of aligned. It was actually a vendor from 2019 that introduced me to that venue, and then they were really kind of like apprehensive to bring on a festival because they had bad experiences before. So I had to like really, really negotiate with their board and all this, and tell them like Flow Jam's different. We're a healing festival. We get really talented musicians. It's not just a DJ like thump, let's do drugs and party festival. So they were really into it. And then, once we did it once, they fell in love with Flow Jam, and they love it. And they want us back. We're actually, I won't talk too much about this, but like, we're going to be launching a second festival in the fall. So yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we've already like, solidified that with the venue. So we're really excited about that. I'm going to be sharing more details about that soon. But like, one of the reasons is like, there's just so many talented people, and I wish that I could like bring them all on our lineup, but there's only so much space, and like, I like to have, I don't like to stack like so much all at once, because I want people to have space to breathe and see like the other talent that's going on and do the workshops. And so that like came to me as a way to bring on more artists. And also, just only doing one a year is kind of hard for a producer, because you only have that one, right, to like really do it and make your investment back. But I'm really excited about it. And then we also have plans to come to Asheville. So we're just growing.
Cool. Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. I know so many people who bounce between here and Asheville, and I totally get it. I don't get to go very much, but it seems like a place that is obviously already doing very well with a lot of art and just a lot of energy. But then like, if you just keep the ball rolling there, I think it could just be such a massive place for art.
Yeah. The healing vibe is already here in Asheville. It's just, there's not many. I think there's one festival that's actually coming up in April that's on the grounds that I'm looking at for like a Flow Jam 2.0. And they're focusing on live music, on like jams, but otherwise there's Leaf Festival, but they bring talent from across the globe, and they concentrate on bringing acts from all around the world, which is awesome and unique. But there's so much room to really get the live music out there. And I think, that's going to be a cool thing. But let's talk about you more. Okay. How I want to know, because I don't really know that much about how like you got started and how like you became like Natalie Brooke, and you have this band. Like, tell me a little bit about that. And then also like some of the amazing things that you've been doing. I know that you flew to Paris, and then you played on this like live talk show or something. Like, I don't know, like, tell me like all the things that are going on with you.
Okay, I'll start with the Paris thing, because that was insane. That was just like the epitome of getting a call and being like, whoa, okay, yes, because I was on my way to play a wedding, and one of the guys from Thump called me, because I'd played a show with them like almost exactly a year before that. And they were like, hey, like crazy gig idea. And in my head, I'm like, oh, we're going to link up and like put on a great show. And I was like, yeah, hit me with it. He goes, so we got asked to go to Paris and like play on a talk show. Would you want to go with us? Our keyboard player can't make it. And I was like, hell yeah, like, of course, like, and I was like, okay, like, when would this be? I'm thinking it has to be at least a month in advance. And he goes, it's next week. And I was like, what? So yeah, so they got the call last minute from like this big French television network. I think it's like the main ones. I think it's like ABC of America, you know, and the show is like Jimmy Kimmel, but for France. And with a band and everything. So I was like at this wedding, and then I called my mom. I was like, Mom, can you please tell me when you think my passport expires? Because I'm pretty sure it just expired. And then she was like, yeah. And she was like, oh my God, like, yeah, it was April of 10 years ago or whatever. So it was like 4 or 5 months expired. And then I like called my boyfriend and I was like, oh my God, like I might not be able to go. He was like, yeah, just like, you know, like be kind of like realistic, you know, like maybe we can get this to work, but like, you know, just like keep it all like, you know, whatever. And so then I found out that you could go to the passport places and get it same day. So like
Really?
Yes. Yeah. But there's only like 5 or 6 of them in the country.
Okay. And one of them's in DC, right?
Yeah. And Philly, but both of them were full the whole week that I needed it. So I had to drive to Buffalo overnight.
Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, I drove to Buffalo, New York to get my passport redone. And the whole time I was like talking with them and their manager, just being like, dude, this is what I'm doing to get my passport. Like, I'll let you know. And apparently a few of them had done that before. They've been like, oh no, you definitely can get it. And I was hopeful, but I was like, I just hope I don't get there. And they're like, oh, we can't renew it because X or whatever, you know? So anyways, like a couple days before I left, like 6 days before I left, I drive up to New York or Buffalo, New York. I have to cancel all my lessons for 2 days because I'm driving there and I have the appointment and I drive back, like whatever. And I'm telling all my students, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to France. I just found out, and like whatever. So then yeah, I flew separate from them because they were in California. We were there for like 50 hours maybe. So it was crazy. We get there like I think I flew out like Monday at midnight, and then I got there like Tuesday late morning or something. I don't really remember. And so we kind of hung around in Paris that day. Didn't really do much because we were kind of tired the first day. Went to the studio for like the rehearsal. We all were just like, oh my God, because it was lights, camera, action. It was all the stuff. We did a rehearsal, and then the next day we walked all through Paris. We didn't have to perform until like 10 p.m. And then, so we did that. We did like 3 or 4 takes, and then that was it. And the next day we left, but we had a great time. And actually the night after we like did the performance, one of my favorite things that we did there was we went to this epic, like nice little French restaurant that sells great French onion soup. But we sat down at like 12 a.m. and we ordered like risotto and French onion soup and like all this stuff because they are like open until 3 a.m. every day of the week. It was so cool. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, the eating culture is so different there. Had you been to Europe before or
yeah, Spain in high school, but I didn't have the same eyes on me, you know, because I was in high school. It was like cool, you know, but
that's awesome. So did they were they speaking French in the, you know, in the studio, in the interview? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so we actually didn't have an interview. He just introduced us, but his whole introduction was French, and it was and he says "Bambosaurus" or whatever. And but yeah, so everybody there spoke French, and when I went, everybody told me, you know, oh, don't worry, everybody there speaks English, don't worry about it. And that was like somewhat true, but also, you know, people didn't like always want to. Right. And I was so freaked out. I mean, and I was thinking they probably think I'm some, you know, annoying American who didn't learn any French, but I'm just like, I didn't even know I was coming here till a week ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember my time. So I like backpacked through Europe twice, and the second time we landed in France, and I had like good and not so great experiences. I don't think they really like, there's a lot of people that don't like Americans, and if they find out that you're an American, and they just like won't speak English to you. Yeah. And like, I was at this Beyonce concert with my 2 American friends. One was studying in France, and we were outside of Lyon, and we were like dancing and doing all the things that you do at a concert, and nobody else was dancing. And then we got pushed by these French girls, and they started speaking in French. And my friend who spoke French like turned around and was like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Stop dancing. You're ruining like whatever." You know, they were like, "Like us not to dance." Like, what?
Weird. That is
weird. What do you do in France at concerts? Like,
yeah. And also I feel like when I go back to France, I'm like, I'm trying to just dance and go clubbing because I feel like that's fun there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it was weird. I don't know. It was weird. I think that might have been an anomaly, and maybe we were just being overly American. I don't know, but but I love the food. The wine is cheaper than water there almost. Like
everything was like cheaper. Like I just felt like when you think of traveling abroad, you're like, oh, I'm gonna spend so much money, but it felt like being in France wasn't just like emptying my wallet. Just
right.
Yeah, so it was cool. I think it's hit or miss with like people speaking and being about it and not, because sure enough, right when I got off the plane, the first person I talked to, I asked her about how to get to a certain part of the airport, and I tried to like speak slowly, but I wasn't like, do you know where? I didn't do that, but I just was like looking for a certain something, and she was like, what? Like, I guess in French, she was like, what? What are you saying? And she was just so annoyed with me. I was like, okay, sorry, I'm just gonna walk this way. I don't know where I'm going, but like, so that was, yeah.
I'm Natalie Brooke. I need a help.
Yeah.
Where to go?
I was like, God, okay, I'll just, I don't know what I'll do from here on out, but yeah.
Did you find that like that may have like helped you in some way, like getting your word out? I know when I saw it, it looked very impressive, like the shot that they did from the studio. And are there like, is it played, like where is it shown? Like where was that broadcast? Just France?
You mean like where can we see it now? Or broadcast? Yeah, I think it was just in France, and then we got a recording of it. So yeah. So and then we, they posted it and I posted it. I think as far as like helping me, I think I've just noticed everything is cumulative.
Yeah.
There isn't too much of a real existence of the whole like big break. I remember somebody told me years ago, they said it's a lot of small breaks, and it like totally is. Not that like a big thing can't happen, because actually Thumpasaurus is a good example of sort of getting like a bigger break. Their song, sorry to use a th because I'm talking about Thumpasaurus. Their song Struttin', I think is killing it on TikTok, and the host of the show, I'm pretty sure the story is just that he was on TikTok and he saw them and he loved them and he wanted them on the show. And then since then, yeah, then they've been on their first US tour now, and they've been selling out most venues. So I think that's definitely like an example of they went from like a certain place to, oh, also Strutton was in a Samsung commercial. So I think that song in the last year, done a lot for them. So
yeah, I honestly hadn't heard of Thumpasaurus until you played with them. So I was like, that's how I heard about Thumpasaurus. And then I started seeing them, like a lot of artists who apply, like you'll start seeing them play with other bands.
Yeah.
And that's how I hear of them. So congratulations on that though, being like asked and brought to France. That's a pretty awesome opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really grateful for that they called me, because I'm over here on this side of the country. I'm like,
oh, are they band in LA or California?
Yeah, they're in LA.
Oh, okay. So how did they know? Have you played with them before?
Yeah, we had one show together a year before the Paris trip, and that was because Turquoise broke up. Thumpasaurus was on the road with them, and they didn't have any shows. So my friend sent me that they were searching for shows on the East Coast because they were like stuck here. And so I said, hey, I'm playing a show in my hometown in Frederick on Friday. And this was like Tuesday, like 4 days before. And I said, dude, come out, like play the show. It's going to be, a well-sold show. And they said, oh my God, totally. And then I had never met them. I probably wouldn't have played with them in the first place if Turquoise hadn't broken up. And then I sat in with them on a few songs during their set, which I think just, really helped us like just kind of like, groove and like get to know each other and stuff, which was fun. So yeah. And then they called me a year later, we had like kept in touch, and they're literally the nicest, sweetest people ever. And the rest is history.
That's cool. So what else has been going on? You just said your hometown is Frederick. Is that Frederick, Maryland?
Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Oh, okay, great. I'm just sending you some posters. Frederick is a big area. Yeah, last year I did not do a good job getting the marketing out and flyers. So this year I'm like on it. So if you could help me get some posters out
I
in Frederick, Maryland, that would be amazing.
Yes, and Frederick is a really crazy, like undiscovered gem for music fans. We just don't have the venues to support it. We just kind of have bars and smaller places to play, and then the Weinberg, which is a seated theater, you know, so not always ideal for everything. But there's a lot of yoga here, there's a lot of art, and there's a lot of music fans, so totally.
Yeah, that was it. Like I was living in Purcellville, Virginia for a little while, and I would sometimes go to Frederick, and I hadn't like never really been there. And then I like when I went there, I was like, oh my God, it's so cute here. It's so
That's
so much
experience.
art, good
Yeah,
food. Yeah, it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, so many people haven't been here and they come and they're like, oh my God, I had no idea. And I'm like, I know, I tell everybody, it's so cool here.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is like, tell me how you started. Like, how did you become you?
Oh my gosh. So it's actually crazy you asked me this because Flow Jam has like a really important like piece of this story.
Oh,
Um
yay.
oh yeah, it's so crazy. So
I just have to real quick thank Zach Lutman for introducing me to you in 2020 because he was helping me book the lineup in 2020, and he was like, you got to check out Natalie Brooke. And
sweet. Thank you,
then
Zach.
once I did, I was like, oh yeah, like if you're a talented female, I'm all about hiring you.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Well, thank you, Zach. So I started off like, you know, a little tater tot, like playing piano, taking lessons, not really loving it. In middle school, I quit. Yeah. In middle school, I quit and I started learning a bunch of music like through, you know, like my iPod, which was like huge for me because I just learned stuff that I loved and I got like a really good ear and stuff. And then high school, I ended up going to a music program half the time, as well as like my classes at my other school, which was great. Prepped me for college. College, I went, and at first I was at a school I really didn't love, and it was in kind of a dead area. And then I transferred over to, what'd you say?
Which one was that?
Oh, I feel bad saying it, but
Okay, you don't
it,
have to say. Where
okay,
was
yeah, like, you know, oh, whatever.
say
But I
the
will.
one you liked or the
Yes,
next one?
exactly. Yeah. So then I went to Shenandoah, which was a conservatory, which was huge for me because that allows music and art students to take like less gen eds. You know, you get to do a lot more of your music classes. And it was just this big building, and all in it was makeup artists, theater, dancing, music, acting, everything. It was so cool. And I was like, this is the vibe. Everybody here does art, and everybody was from all over the country too, which was different from the other school where everybody was like from that town. So
Right.
way more what I was looking for. And basically like my journey to becoming what I am now was like a huge developmental stage for me from college to now and like post COVID, because I was playing jazz and performing a lot and like performing in bands, but I was still really shy and just like not super confident, even though I grew up listening to so much energetic music and watching it and being like, I can do this, you know, like I have this in me. I just didn't really know how to like get it out or something. I don't know. I was too unsure, uncertain.
Yeah.
And then I started my band a little bit like 6 months before COVID, still like wasn't really like killing it and rocking it and doing my full thing. But then COVID happened and it all got ripped away, and I was so sad and so, you know, grieving it, and I didn't know what to do with myself, and I had all of this energy I wanted to get out and I couldn't. So it was literally because of COVID that I told myself, when this is over, I have to just go and like do me and be myself. So that's why I know that like I'm not doing something that I've like created. I am just something that I always was, you know, I just never had, I guess, the courage to be. And so Flow Jam was my first concert back post COVID that wasn't like a weird COVID show. So I remember my band and I were prepping for Flow Jam for a while. And then I got up there and it was just the perfect combination of everything. The lights were incredible. The weather was amazing. The set was awesome. The crowd was vibing and the energy was super high. And I just remember just sweating and playing and being like, this is it. So yeah, literally the place that happened. And then from there, I was like, just off. So
sweet to hear.
yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, I thought, yeah. Because I remember, we were supposed to have our event in 2020 in June, obviously, but then we actually pushed it back to October. But a lot of course, we knew that we weren't going to be able to have the full lineup that we initially wanted in June. And yeah, we weren't like the timing wasn't right for you then. So I'm really glad that we were able, just 7 months later, pulled off another festival in June for 2021, and to see you live. That was like, I think the first time that I really saw you live. And yeah, you did such an amazing job. Like, I was blown away. And I think everyone that like saw your set and has seen it since has just been like, oh my God, Natalie Brooke, like, she's amazing. Like, her energy, the way that she like, I've talked to so many people since then, and anyone who like hears your name, they're just like, she's gonna do it. Like, she's gonna be the one, that like really gets there. And so it just means a lot that like to see Flow Jam, because I've heard from a lot of artists, like, because one of my goals is to hire people that are maybe, not super well known, but they're super, super talented. And then you give them the space to feel safe and play and to have an audience that really cares. It's like, so much can happen and so much blossoms. And I've seen so many people just gain that confidence. And Flow Jam's done that for me too. Like,
yeah.
Like, it took me a while to get on stage, and like, this is actually the first year that I'm going to put myself on stage at a time that like I know is like a headliner time. Usually I'm like, oh, I'll just do it, like, I'll just get on stage on Friday, like early, whatever, and because it's not about me, I don't want to be there. But like, people like you give me the confidence to just do the thing. Yeah, I remember in 2021, I had just like given my speech, and I was like, did you like it? You're like, yeah, that was great. Good job.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember I shouted you out during my set, because I'm realizing now that like, you don't always know the person running the festival, and somebody might be like, that's the person who, but like, I thought it was amazing that you went up there and you talked to everybody there, and you introduced yourself, and you talked about your values and like, what's important to you. So I thought that was great. And, of course, like, thank you for like having me, not really knowing me. And, I'm glad we've been able to work together more since then. So,
yeah. I was going to actually wear the Natalie Brooke shirt that you gave me.
Oh, nice.
It's a little cold in here, so I was like, I'll just put this on, but it's somewhere over here. I love that shirt. It's purple. It's got you like in a shadow box or whatever.
Yeah.
I hope you have, are you going to come with some merch this year? Of course.
Yes, and I actually am getting a bunch of new merch this month. I have this fun little design I'm having that somebody yelled it at a show once. This girl named Tara, she said, "Give me noodles or give me death." So I was like, I'm putting that on a shirt. And it's just this little like squiggly, like psychedelic writing. So I thought that was funny.
I love that. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to have like a bigger merch booth, and we're going to have it open. So you'll be able to like set up and have your stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited. So, okay, that kind of like sums up where your journey and where you are now. You also teach music lessons. Do you teach at your place in Frederick, or?
Yeah, right here.
Cool. So people watching can, if they want to learn from you, they can go, what's your website? We have it on flowjam.com or flowjamfestival.com, but tell us.
Yeah, it's just nataliebrookmusic.com. And I do mostly online, actually. So online or in person in Frederick.
How do you do music classes online? Like how do you have them play and then you listen and then you say like what kind of they need to do?
Yeah, totally. Like, it's very much just a conversation with people. Everybody that I have works on stuff with like such different things. So, yeah, I mean, I can just listen to what they're doing. I actually, even sometimes if I can't see their hands, I can kind of tell if I need to fix their technique based on like their shoulders moving or like something like that. So younger kids, it's a little bit harder. I just have like one who's 10, and then everybody is older than that. So I try not to do younger than 10 online because everything else is much more manageable. But I wouldn't be able to do like introducing a 5-year-old to the piano and making sure they're doing this and like using the right, like not lying to me, being like, yeah, I did that or whatever.
5-year-old not lying. Yeah, I did it. I actually, I was like 5 or 6 when I first started. Like the piano was my first instrument that I played, but I didn't have the patience that I have developed now. And so if I wasn't good at something right away, which how can you be good at music, like, instruments right away? Obviously you need to practice. But I kind of gave up. And then I went to Hill School in Middleburg, and they had, you play like, you had to pick a string instrument. So then I played like the viola and the cello, and I really liked the cello. Still one of my favorite instruments. But if you ask me to play or like do any notes, I probably wouldn't be able to do it now.
Yeah, that might be something that I might do like on my 30th birthday, is like start taking cello lessons or something.
Ooh, you getting on there with the cello? That would be amazing. That would be just be like
something I have to do at some point in my life. You're making me realize that now, because since I was little, I've always just been like, that's something I want to at least try at some point. So it's like, I got to do that, before I'm like 75.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Oh, still so young.
Yeah.
I started playing at 27, and I just had my 37th birthday. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you just had your birthday. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's been a good birthday. I went up, actually, I was in Virginia in Front Royal for a little bit. So my goal was to get all the flyers printed and like start doing all the stuff, but you know how it goes. There's always so many edits and so many things. And there's like one thing already that I need to change on the poster, but it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Sorry to get that out there.
Yeah, send them my way, and I'll paste them all over Frederick.
Please, that would be amazing. I know it's a great music scene there, or a great people like that vibe, like for Flow Jam. And I think, just a lot of people just don't know about it yet. And so I'm going to do some Facebook ads and start getting more awareness out there, because I think this will be our biggest year yet. So I'm excited. And you're playing on Thursday, June 8th. Yep. I will, I haven't done the exact lineup yet, but I know that you'll probably be closing out. And then you have you wanted to do something with Nestor. You guys are doing something. You're going to play separate and together, or what's the
really? Okay. We were just talking about playing on the same day, and then making shows. Yeah, the rest of the weekend. So
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
All get together and then go.
You seem to collaborate. I mean, obviously talent attracts talent, but we were also blown away by Nestor too. They're they were super new band last year. Really great talent there. And we were just Thursday's lineup this year is gonna be so good. And so cool. People that maybe are thinking they're just going to come Friday and Saturday and Sunday or whatever, people need to come Thursday, because we've definitely stacked the Thursday lineup to open our festival really, really good. I like putting really good bands. I know some people, of course, they want to play on Friday or Saturday or whatever. And it's like, dude, Thursday is going to be super rocking. And I love Thursday vibes, because it's like the real, the real festival goers, the real, what are they called? Groupies, fans, real fans, they come and just do it all. And so I'm hoping that, people really understand that and will take the day off work or whatever they need to do it. Cause
it's the time to start the party. It's Thursday.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you mentioned this before when we actually were live, but you were mentioning the venue. Tell us what you love about the venue again, because I want to hear that. We've got a lot of compliments.
Yeah. Is it called
Verdun Adventure Bound? And they align so much with our values, because, the staff there is amazing. I used to have to not only produce the festival, but also get the grounds ready, which took I can't tell you how much work that took. And so like by the time the festival would be actually happening, I would be so worn out. But of course, you know, being in Aries and being like a manifesting generator, I have a lot of energy and it would just bring me so much energy. But I would like pass out for weeks after and just be like completely dead. But now like I feel like we've matured and we've got this venue that the staff is just so amazing to work with. They like prepare everything, they make sure everything's there. And yeah, that amphitheater is actually the story behind the land is like this guy bought it in the 70s and his main thing was he was going to turn it into an arboretum. So that's why there's so many varietal of trees. Like you can be like you're in a pine forest and then you can go out and be in a totally different environment. And like just the property is 55 acres and it has, you know, a lake, it has a pond for bird watching, it has like all these hiking trails and a creek. I think we're bringing back Naked Creek this year. So yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff to explore at that venue. But so anyways, he wanted to start an arboretum. That's why there's all those varietal of trees there. And then his daughter he named the amphitheater, I think it was Anne Marie Amphitheater or something. And I don't know the story behind it, but she died. And so he built this theater in honor of her because she was like she was an actress or loved acting or loved stage. And so that's why they built it in the way, I don't know if you've ever played at Wolf Trap or been there, but it's like a mini Wolf Trap, like amphitheater in the woods. And it has, like you were saying, those things for like, they do puppet work. So they have all those openings and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why that's there. Because they do like, I think they like did in the past, like a lot of like puppet shows. So that's why they like, you can like, I love that you can like open up the window and like look out at the crowd and see the band. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The little back changing rooms that have racks for clothing and a mirror. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely, when we found this property, we were like, okay, now we're like real.
Yeah.
We were real before, but we actually have an actual legit venue instead of creating the venue, you know?
And that's gotta be hard. But it's actually crazy that you point that out about the original owner wanting to make it into an arboretum, because I was gonna say that's one of my favorite things about it, that when you walk around or you're driving through, that it is just like canopies of, and now I realize, different trees. It is like there's different like vibes and different sections based on the trees, which is so cool.
Yeah. I love it. You have nowhere else like would you get that much shade. I think I've never been to.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything where I've been to a venue that has like that much shade for people. And so yeah, we're very, very excited.
Cool.
Is there anything else that I'm trying to think of something quirky to ask you or random? Oh, I know. Okay. What's been what's been the like weirdest thing that's happened to you, either like on the road or on stage or at a venue? And weird could be good, bad. It could be just like, I can't believe this happened, or something like something.
Oh yeah, I got a story for you. This is definitely one of the weirdest and scariest things that's happened to us. We did a 3-day run last July, and the weekend was just impeccable. Just Thursday show, great. Friday show, great. Saturday show, great. We made money. Like, so we were in my boyfriend Jacob's van. He has like a 15-passenger van, and he came with us and he helped out, and it was fun. Everything was so good. And so we're driving back from like Charlottesville on Saturday night, and we got out pretty early because it was like a brewery. So we left at like 9, and we're like, oh my God, we're going to get home at like midnight and not 3 a.m. And then so we're just like driving on a 2-lane road. Actually, I was driving, and the car next to us all of a sudden just flies forward because another car just smashed into them from behind at like 100 miles an hour. This is actually kind of a scary story, but this is the first thing that came to my mind.
Weird, scary, you know, it all goes together. Yeah.
So like we actually were like, our car was pretty fine. The dude who hit them kind of started to spin out, and then I was like braking, and then he kind of like bumped into our car. So we just had like a little dent, not a big deal. And then so we like pull over to like do the whole insurance thing, but we were like getting away from those two cars because the one that hit the other people from behind, his car was smoking. And basically, long story short, the dude who crashed into the car next to us at like 100 miles an hour was wasted and had just gotten out of jail and didn't want any of us to call the cops. So we were all standing there. We'd already gotten out of the car, and Jacob kind of like had the cops on his phone, but like down by his side because he didn't want the guy to know. And then he started to threaten to like kill all of us. And we were just standing there on the side of the road with like nobody there in the dark in Virginia, like maybe a car passing by occasionally, and we were all just kind of like frozen with fear. And he was like threatening all of us, being like, you call the cops, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like all this stuff. And, like, it was terrifying because I just was like, me and all my band members were just standing there, and I was like, wow, I really wish we didn't get out of the car. We would be a lot safer. And I know this now. I'm like, that's my number one lesson is if I'm ever in an accident at night, like don't like pull over and like get out of the car. Just stay in the car, you know? And if I have to drive away, I
make sure you're off the road enough, because I've also heard like of stories of people like not getting off the road enough. So, but yeah. That's a crazy story. So what, and so did Jacob have the phone with the cops on, like, and so they were all of this too?
Basically didn't find it enough of an emergency and just like never showed up. And we were there. Yeah, we were there for like 20 minutes. And at first, like the guy was like escalating. So it's like not like by minute one, he was threatening. By like 10 minutes, he had walked over to our car and started to threaten us. And then eventually one of our members just was like, all right, yep, we're leaving. And then all of us like unfroze and just like got in the car and everybody drove away. And then finally the cops met up with us at like a Wegmans down the road. And it was one of the most disappointing experiences of my life with cops, just with that whole thing, because they kind of showed up and they're like, so what happened? Oh, that's what happened. Oh, and then he like said to his buddy, he was like, oh, you know, the usual or something. And we all were like, yeah. So, and yeah, and we just had to leave it. And, but yeah, that was crazy and scary, but a big learning lesson about being safe on the road and just like protecting us, like when we're out there driving, who knows where in the country, you know, just like we have to be safe. So,
yeah. Damn. Well, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad that didn't escalate to actually anything.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The things that happen on the road. Do you guys like, do you have a van, or is that like, how do you get from A to B?
Sometimes we can use my boyfriend Jacob's van, but not all the time. And if we don't, we just use like, I just got like a Nissan Rogue, and we used to use my drummer's. He has like a similar one, but we would just put a U-Haul in the back and just do that.
Okay.
But that is, what'd you say?
I was gonna say, I guess you're gonna use Jacob's van because he's coming on Nestor. If anyone doesn't know who Nestor and Jacob are, that's how we got Nestor on the lineup, because talent attracts talent. I love it. Do you find it well, I guess you like it to be also in a relationship with a musician. Like, is that like feels good, and like you can just like stay together, and it's
I always tell my parents, because you know, they're just like, do you only date musicians? You know, they love Jacob, but just like whenever I've been like dating or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm not opposed to anybody else. I'm just constantly around musicians. And then also I was explaining to them once, if I meet somebody and I'm talking to somebody who's not a musician, it doesn't mean the combos aren't going to be amazing. Maybe they are. But if I'm talking to a musician, we're just going to be like, boom, 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 boom. Oh my God, yes, this, that. Like the first time Jacob and I we hung out for like a 10-hour stretch and just shared music like the whole time. And so it just clicks. Yeah, it just makes sense.
Where did he come from? How'd you meet him? Because Nestor was new. Like Nestor was brand new last year, right? Like they had just started as a band.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think he had just started it like earlier last year, maybe a little bit before. And yeah, so his name is Jacob, but he like goes by like the name of Nestor. I don't want to call it like a character, but it's almost like it's like a sub name, I guess. but yeah, so we just had mutual friends, and then we like almost we found out we like almost crossed paths like a couple times. Like he almost came to my housewarming party because somebody that a mutual friend of ours almost brought him, but then he didn't. And then we were always like, what would have happened if you came to the party? Like, would we have even talked that night, you know?
Yeah.
Just mutual friends.
Where does he live?
He lived in Baltimore when I met, no, Annapolis when I met him, but now he lives here with me, right here.
Oh, is he here right now?
No, he's where is he right now? Oh, he's like out doing tree stuff with his friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to get Nestor on this Jam Tube series.
Yeah.
Really excited. So if anyone's just like joining in, I probably should have said this prior, but we're doing like Natalie's the first one that we're interviewing for our artist interview series called Jam Tube, because we want you guys to get excited about who's on our lineup and for you to, you know, get a taste of their music, get a taste of how they do their workshops. And we're even interviewing some vendors so that you know what's gonna be, you know, really going down June 8th through the 11th. So Natalie is our very first one. I'm so appreciative because you make me feel so comfortable. And tomorrow is Equanimous, and I've never met Equanimous, so he's new to our lineup. Have you heard of him? Have you heard?
No, but now I'm like, cool, I'm gonna be tuning in and just listening while I do things to.
Oh, good. Yeah, we're gonna do it 5:30 tomorrow Eastern Standard Time, 2:30 PST. He's yeah, he's new. He was on Envision's lineup, and that's kind of like I had Envision Festival tickets and I didn't go because I was going through some grief with my dad and all that. So yeah, I just kind of like just intuitively, you know, like all this is kind of like coming together of who's available, who happens to be around. He was doing a tour. He's originally from Massachusetts, which I love because
Nice.
my family's from Massachusetts. So yeah, tune in tomorrow because we're going to be interviewing Equanimous, and then the following week we're going to be interviewing, let's see, who do we have up? Tara Eschenschroeder, who teaches workshops. Is there anyone on our lineup that you're really excited about to be with besides Nestor?
Oh my gosh. I love Budograph Spaceship. They're on again, right?
Of course, yeah. They're probably going to always be on our lineup because Zach does our sound. He does a really good job, even though he probably is over that job for a while. But he does a good job of it. What?
I have to say, he is impressive because last year I think we had to change out everything, including drums. And I remember like prepping my band, like, okay, guys, like we got to make sure we do like this, like everybody just like do the things. And then like sure enough, Zach and everybody was there helping, making it go really well. And then Zach sound checked us and did our monitors in like 5 minutes, and it sounded great. I've done so many short sound checks where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be, and then sound is like wacky and stuff. But Zach killed it. Every time I've played Flow Jam, I've just had it. And that also probably adds to like being able to perform really comfortably. I mean, it definitely does because it has always sounded so great on stage. So I definitely want to thank Zach for that.
Yeah, he does an amazing job. And I hope that if he ends up stopping to do the sound, just because it's a lot of work, that he's like always there.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, yeah, he was one of our Budograph Spaceship was our first. Like they played our very first year in the barn, and like we had a whole stage set up outside that wasn't that great, but they like completely were like, no, we're not going to do that. And they like made a whole stage, made a whole thing in the barn as like a vibe. And I was so impressed because at that time, like I didn't even know our barn had the capacity to, you know, handle all this electric. And he just was like, do, like he just can figure out anything, and it's a really good team member for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're also like for the first time Consider the Source. Have you heard?
Yeah.
Have you listened to them? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. And actually I can't believe I didn't mention them when you asked who I'm excited to see, because I love Consider the Source. And I actually haven't gotten a chance, I think, to see a whole set from them. I've been at festivals where they've been and I've listened to them online a lot, but they're fantastic. I mean, obviously as individuals, just insanely good. And then as a band, like very accomplished and very awesome.
Yeah, I once I put them on my, because it was another thing, like I haven't heard them, but I was talking to their manager and actually was on a whole different direction of who I was going to hire, and they weren't available, so they recommended Consider the Source. And I was like, I looked at them and started listening to them, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, they're really good. And then once I put them on the lineup, there's been a lot of people to reach out, just being like, Consider the Source is so good. They're like three of the best musicians on the planet in one
Yeah.
band.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It was very exciting. It's
Yeah.
always good to see new people. And we've got the Lits coming back and Hustle Souls.
Yes.
And who else do we have? The Settlement Band and the Kind Thieves. I love the Kind Thieves.
Love the Kind Thieves. Yes.
And Sneezy's a new band. They're coming from Chicago.
Mushroom Flats too.
Yeah, they were on our lineup last year. They're really good. I love people who like support us as well. Like I can feel throughout the year, like that are like commenting, liking, and participating versus like if I'm gonna hire someone and they're just gonna come play and then leave and not like be a part of it, then I probably won't hire them again. But this lineup is like all of my people that I've worked with before that I know are really good, that I know that like show up. Like I love, like we have such a great online relationship. I feel like we're always talking to each other.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And Muskrat Flats is really, really good at that too. They are like super on their marketing, and I really, really appreciate that.
Nice.
So tell me, before we go, because I know that we've like kind of talked more than normal or more than was scheduled. I don't want to like take all of your time, but I do love talking to you, and it's so nice because I don't always get the time at the festival to like communicate with the artists. So it's so nice to be able to really like talk with you and see you and praise you for all the work that you've been doing in your music. Who's in your band? Do you mix it up? And because your band is called the Natalie Brooke. Well, on everything, it's just Natalie Brooke, right?
Yeah. It's actually interesting you bring that up because I'm probably about, I don't even know if I should say this, but whatever. I'm probably about to do a big like name change. Because I think Natalie Brooke needs more of an identity. I mean, really, when I started my band, I only had one. So I was like, I'll just make it my name. But then now I have two, Natalie Brooke and the Infinity Tribe. So I understand that it can be kind of like, confusing. So I think I might change it back to its OG, like Natalie Brooke in the band, or something like with a little bit more of like a fun, like other word, but I'll really have to brainstorm that. But so Sam Huff is on drums. Oh.
Sorry, you have two bands? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So tell me.
The one that I play at Flow Jam with is, well, because they are pretty different. Like the one that plays at Flow Jam is like primarily like funk and rock, and I sing in, and the other one is meant to be like nerdy instrumental music and stuff, which is just like another like part of it. So the band that plays at Flow Jam is it was originally a bunch of Frederick homies, like people that we've been jamming for years together. So Sam Huff on drums, Owen Fuste on bass, and then we are going kind of through different guitar players right now because we just don't have one person who is able to like commit to everything. So I don't really have like a set name for the guitar player, but everybody we play with is awesome and really nice. So
yeah, we trust it. Yeah, I trust your ability to put together an ensemble that like kills it. I'm excited. Do you have new songs that you're going to be playing at Flow Jam?
Yes, we actually, this year is all about new music. Our first show at Pearl Street this year, which was March 18th, we brought back a lot of old stuff, and then we premiered one new song, and we're writing a lot of new songs right now, which over April and May, we will be getting those like out for the first time and really comfy, and then ready for like summer to be like new stuff, like feeling really good about it. So
sweet.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked.
So
yay. Is there anything you want to mention to the attendees that might be watching, or people that you want to come to your set? Like, why should they buy their ticket and make sure that they're there on Thursday to come see you?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's, you know, the other lineup that's going to be tackling Thursday, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I think what you're doing with Stacking Thursday is great because it's going to kick it off, you know, on like totally the right foot. So I know that if people, anybody who hasn't seen me, Thursday night is just going to be about like getting your wiggles out and like dancing and like having a good time. And then one of my favorite things about the rest of Flow Jam, I was just texting a friend about it the other day because she was like, hey, I think I might go. Like, what's it like? And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many activities that like you would be so about. I think, didn't you guys do like ice baths last year?
And we're going to do them again this year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just so many cool things that you really don't get at so many other festivals. All of the workshops, all of the meditation, the ice bath. I haven't been to the lake, but I saw lots of beautiful pictures of the lake. So it really is just like the full experience. And then you get a lot of like dope music at the same time. So I tell people, I'm like, just go, you know, you're going to have a great time. So
Yay. Well, awesome. And also we've never done this before, but I'm trying it out. We're after April 7th, our tickets are going to increase the tier 2 pricing, but I'm also going to put on day passes, which we've had day passes before, but I'm also going to do evening passes for people who might not yet know that they love doing workshops and all, so that they can get like a little taste with a ticket that only is for the evening music. And if they want to add on after that, they can. But also if people don't have the whole weekend and they want to come see you, there's going to be, you know, that Thursday evening ticket that they can come see you too. So
cool.
Yeah. So that'll be up hopefully like in the next week or so.
Nice. Cool. I'll definitely let people know.
Thank you. Well, I think if there's anything else, we've got some people live here on Instagram. I know.
Watching. Oh, there it is. Cool.
We've been streaming on Instagram, and I haven't seen any comments. Like I can't see the comments on Facebook if there are any, but I will. We'll answer any of your questions. If you have any questions for Natalie, you can just drop them underneath this video, and she can check back. And then Natalie, if you just share this with your audience, I've opened up the sharing so you can share this video, and that would be great. And then we're going to download it and put it on our YouTube as well, so people can watch it from there, and we'll share it in our newsletter and all of that fun stuff. And yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we go?
I don't think so. I think all good.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm going to stop the live here, and then I'll be back with you, Natalie. Okay. Bye, guys. So thank you so much for joining our first JamTube live interview series. Check in tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be live with Equanimous, who is named Nate, actually. And we're very excited about that because he's new to our lineup and has a pretty good repertoire of music under his belt. He'll be DJing on Sunday and possibly Saturday too. So all right, I'll see you guys later. Bye. How do I end it on? I don't even know how to end a live. Okay.
Always happens ending a live. We're always like, wait, how?
I know how to end it on Facebook. Here we go. Maybe do I? Stop live stream. Okay.